Hi everyone, this is Rich from the Rich Maxwell channel. Today we're doing a bit of different video. I've bought a cheap hardtail mountain bike and I'm just going to go through a few basic upgrades to do on it to make it into a real hardcore trail thrashing machine. So first clear and obvious change to make is to these suspension forks. They look nice and off-roady, but there's just no dampening. They're like pogo sticks, literally. I can't believe they still make forks like this and put them on bikes. But, I mean, they've got lockout for all it's worth. Preload adjustment, but there's just literally nothing to adjust rebound, nothing on the bottom there. So these are going to be swapped out with some old ones that I've got in my little parts box in the garage. They used to be on my e-bike, these old forks, but they're RockShox 35 silvers, so not bad forks. So these are the forks I'm putting on, RockShox 35 silvers. These have got dampening adjustment, so you can adjust the rebound. They've got lockout too, and they're air forks, so you can infinitely tune them to fit any rider weight. So perfect for the budding trail bike. This one has also got much more travel, 160mm travel versus apparently 100mm on these. But who knows what travel you're really going to get on a cheap fork like this. I bet no one's actually measured it and checked. Might be more like 80, but anyway, that's going. Not even going to try riding with that horrible fork on there. Okay, to change the fork, I've also got to switch out my front wheel. So I've got a new 29-inch wheel, brand new, but because the fork that I'm putting on is a bolt-through axle, it's not going to be compatible with this wheel. But no problem, it's probably only a cheap wheel anyway on this bike at £200. So this wheel with a WTB rim and a SRAM hub for 41 quid off Chain Reaction Cycles. Absolute bargain, probably going to be a much stronger rim. And I've put an old tyre out of my garage that used to be on my e-bike onto it, made it tubeless, so won't have to worry so much about punctures as well. So all in all, another great upgrade. We'll make the rear one tubeless. Hopefully this tyre is tubeless compatible. It's a Kenda Ambach. I don't know what tyre that is, or Kenda Amrak rather. But hopefully can make that tubeless in some way, and then no worries about punctures anymore. Okay, so switching the fork, first thing I'm going to do, take this wheel off, get it out of my way, lighten things up a bit. It's a quick release, so no bolts to undo. We'll put that aside for now because I'm going to need to take the rotor off it for the new wheel. Next up, we find the right size Allen key to unbolt the stem. So let's get down and unbolt it. Just undo those two bolts loosely for now. The centre cap on the top, different sized Allen key, so find the right one. We'll loosen that up a bit. Also, I've got to take the disc off, or the brake off, I should say, not disc. Disc is on the wheel, of course. So we'll get this brake off ready, and then we can drop the forks out. So just two bolts to undo to take this brake off. Nice and easy. Actually make that 4 bolts. I've got to unbolt the actual brake from its adapter, because it's got an adapter on this one to make it fit the rotor size that the brake is fitted with. Seems like Hulk Hogan's done these nuts up. Very tight nuts indeed. Oh, nice crack of a nut there. Now just taking that last bolt out, the head cap on the old forks. Then we can drop them out. Easy peasy. Always got to be careful at this moment that that doesn't happen. Yeah, kind of lost all my headset bits there, which is what I didn't want to do. Okay, that was an actual error. I was trying to avoid doing that and actually catch it all. Anyway, next step, I'm going to have to take the bits of the headset off, keep them aside, and we need this part off the forks. That's the headset race. That's got to go on the new forks. So basically it's sort of pressed on there. So just got to knock it off here and then knock it onto the new fork. Easy peasy. I say easy peasy, these are always a pain in the ass to take off. finally it's off. It's getting the race on the new forks, greased up the steerer tube there, put the race on. I found this bit of plastic pipe in my garage. I'm just going to bang it on. Making sure no gaps there. That's it, that's on. Easy peasy. So all I've got to do is the reverse of what I just did. Build it all back up. So ball bearings on. Bung it under there. I do need to cut these forks down as yeah, the steerer much longer than on the old one. But I'm reluctant to do so before I've ridden the bike, checked I'm happy with the fork on there. And also, because these forks are off my e-bike, if my e-bike ever goes back for any reason under warranty, I might want to put these forks back on the e-bike. So don't really want to have to chop them down if I can get away with it. So I'll probably just chuck a load of spacers on instead, and that'll do the job. Yeah, the bearings are all nice and greased already, so I ain't got to worry about re-greasing them. It's a brand new bike, so as you'd expect, all soaking wet with lovely grease. I'll just chuck a load of spacers on. Got more of these in my garage because I know I'm going to need them, but I'll just roughly build it up for now. Then we can sort them after. But yeah, the spacers will need to be there to be able to tighten the headset properly. Like I say, better procedure would be to cut this steerer tube down because it is much too long. Probably going to have to put like 2 or 3 decent sized spacers on here, and it doesn't look very nice having loads of spacers on the front of your bike. So ideally you don't have to do it. Just going to get the wheel on now. Going to chuck a bit of grease on the axle just so that it doesn't ever seize up with all the bad weather we get here in England. So grease it up nicely. It's just a bit of lithium bearing grease, typically used on cars and stuff. Oh, but before I put the wheel back on, I need to swap the rotor. So switching a disc rotor, all you're going to need is the right size Torx key or Allen key, whatever, that's not the right one, and some thread lock. So you just undo it, put it on there, put some thread lock on all the bolts, bolt it back on, set it to the right torque, ideally. I just give it a guess, do it handy tight, not too light is my rule. And then yeah, whack it on and the wheel and the bike are good to go. Turns out this one's actually an Allen key rather than a Torx bit, so that's why my initial tool of choice did not fit. Putting it back on, let's get a bit of thread lock on each bolt, just to be extra safe. You don't want your discs falling off. Key part of your bike is your brakes, you want to be able to stop. Just put a bit much on there, but no worries, just bung it in there. It'll all dry on, hold the bolts in good. Make sure when you're doing this, you don't touch your rotor on the braking surface anyway, because your hands might be full of grease after greasing up your axle and bits like that, like I've just done, and headset grease. So you don't want that getting into your brakes because you'll have no brakes and then you might crash. With these bolts, you want to go opposite, so don't just go do round in a circle. You want to go in like a cross pattern, so you do one bolt over this side and then you do its opposite one on the other side, and you kind of want to ease them all down together, not just tighten up one fully and then the other one fully. So we just keep going in a crossing sort of motion. So over to that one, just hand tighten it. Not even hand tighten it, it's not tight at all really, just got the thread all the way in. And then we'll go around, tighten them all up when they're all sort of in. This should make a massive difference to the bike, having the bigger, better suspension fork with some actual rebound dampening. I always found this fork was pretty much adequate for my e-bike, but I just upgraded it because I wanted something lighter and fancier looking. So I put a Fox 36 onto my e-bike and this RockShox 35 silver. air fork just sat in my garage waiting for a use, and that use has come now. It's, yeah, obviously I love using my e-bike, but quite fancied having a regular old acoustic hardtail again, and also having an expensive e-bike on the back of your van or your car when you're out and about is a bit worrying. You know, if you park up somewhere, somebody might nick it. And I do a lot of camping and camper vanning, and I want to be able to just take a cheap bike with me so I can do some family bike rides and not have to just be stressing that like £3 or £4 grand worth of e-bike's going to get nicked off the back of the van. So now we're ready to put the wheel back on. I always think tightening a wheel, you want to get it on the floor just to make sure that the wheel is properly sat in your dropouts. You're good to tighten it. That's now tightened up nicely. We'll get it back in stand. And next we're going to set the brake up. Okay, so doing the brakes, as I said, I kept these 2 bolts here of the caliper that actually go onto the adapter nice and loose. What I need to do, well, I've just realised this adapter is the wrong size for this rotor with these forks. So I think it might be a case that we can get rid of the adapter altogether and just have the brake caliper go straight to the forks. Essentially the forks, they're all made for different size rotors, or usually they're a standard 180, but yeah, obviously these are different. So I'm going to have to just get rid of the adapter and hope it just fits straight on. Otherwise I'm going to have to buy something else there, which I don't want to have to do, because this bike I'm aiming to just not spend any money on. I just want to keep it, like I say, as a cheap second bike for camper vanning. We're in luck. It doesn't look like any new adapters needed. It looks like this is the right size fork for this rotor with no adapter. Great news. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to just put my hand on the brake lever and tighten up the caliper bolts. If we were lucky, that would give us a nice rotor that doesn't rub, but of course it is giving it a bit of rub at the moment. But not to worry, easy to adjust that. All you do is look along the edges of the brakes, and I can see I've just got to move it slightly over to the one side. Then hopefully I'll have a nice quiet disc brake, and more importantly, a disc brake that stops. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. I've got new forks on, got some rebound control now, front brakes working, nice wheel, tubeless tyre. Next little upgrade, I'm going to put these DMR V12 pedals on. Got these, again, something that I added onto my e-bike, but then I decided to upgrade pedals again, so these are just spare in my garage. Might as well go on here, as they're damn good pedals all round. So let's do these. They've got an Allen key on the back. Pedals, they always have a left and a right one. They're threaded different ways round, so don't mix them up or you're screwed. So it just says on there a CRL as a code, so that means left pedal, and this one's got CRR, so right pedal. Dab of grease on them, just stop them seizing, make it easier job next time you got to take them off. So double check, got the R1, and great tip, if you just freewheel backwards, you can usually finger tight your pedals on. And that always gets the thread the right way around. It's one of the old tricks I remember from my earlier days working in a bike shop. Finally, to tighten it, hold your wheel, and then just push forward. So you can get loads of grip on it then and tighten it as much as you want. V12 pedals, a bit scratched up, but good pedals, and they get scratched in no time anyway. And we've got the forks on, got the SRAM hub wheel, W2B rim on the front, tubeless. And so a couple more things I'm going to do on it. I want to go tubeless on the back as well. But this back wheel has got a Schrader valve, so might need some sort of adapter to make a tubeless Presta valve fit on it, but I'll work that out. Next little bits I'm going to fix on it include the gears. I'm going to set the gears up, set the brakes up well, and then give it a test ride. So in terms of the gears on this, we've got this little micro shift gear system. These are, I guess, kind of budget gears. They're not quite as good as like Schwinn and Shimano that you get on more expensive bikes, but this, like I say, it's a £200 bike. So just having shifter gears is pretty good. And 10-speed, 1x drivetrain, not bad at all. So the first part of setting them up is your adjustment screws. So that lower adjustment screw there will affect how far this can move towards the frame of the bike. So essentially you've got to set that right, otherwise your chain could come off if the cable slackens enough. As you can see, when I turn it, the derailleur moves inwards. So I'm going to set it just so it's about, yeah, just so it can't essentially pull the chain off. You want it to have a little bit of give towards the frame so that your gears shift smoothly, and we'll go down to that bottom cog. But when it looks about right, let's give it a quick test. As you can see, it's struggled a bit onto the 9th gear there, so I'm just going to tighten the gear cable. I'm finding that they're just not shifting as smoothly as they should. So at first I noticed that the rear wheel wasn't aligned properly because it was just like over one side in the frame there. So I undid the quick release on the floor, got that in central, and that's aligned nicely. So that's made it a bit better, but they're still just not smoothly going up and down. So what I'm going to do, because I'd imagine what's happened here in transit is probably had a little knock to the derailleur and the hanger here. They bend pretty easily. So I'm just going to use my derailleur hanger straightening tool to straighten it out, and that should give me a nice smooth shifting experience. So an easy job to do really. We're just going to get it down to the highest gear, or up to the highest gear. I would say down because it just feels like it should be down because the highest gear always has the smallest cogs. We'll turn the clutch off. On this, it's a little switch on here. So yeah, just turn that off. That enables you to just spring the derailleur any which way you want to go. We'll get that out of the way. Now we can get our gear hanger. Might just need to move the chain out of the way because this threaded rod bit might otherwise slightly knock into the chain. That's not good. So all we do is tighten that up. Just do it finger tight with that. Then we've got this little guide rod thing. Feed that in, feed this up. So we'll get it about 1 centimetre from the tyre there at the bottom. And essentially what you do when you want to straighten a derailleur, you've got to look at it as a clock. So you want to make sure that 12 and 6 are aligned the same. So the distance from the tyre at this end to this end are pretty much the same. So to do that, we might have to just move the tool part up here. Straight away I can see that quite nicely aligned actually on the 12-6 plane. So now we'll do the other way. So this is the 9-3 sort of axis. We're just slightly out more on this way, so all you're going to do is bend that in. Don't go mad on it because it's, in this case, very small difference. We'll double check the 12-6 sort of axis, the vertical axis again. That looks great. A nice straight derailleur now. Should be able to get these gears running slick and smooth. So it's just a case now of putting the derailleur back on. As before, we'll adjust the limit screws, adjust the cable tension, then have nice smooth shifting. Right, so limit screws adjusted on the rear derailleur, cable tension done. We've got some nice smooth shifting now. So, final step on this bike, I'm going to just check a few things are tight. I always think on a new bike, you've got to check your cranks, make sure your crank nuts are tight. Because if they're loose, your whole chain set can get absolutely buggered. So give those a check. So I'm going to check them on the floor because the stand, I can't get enough of my power and might into the wrench. Yeah, that one's tight. So Yeah, back when I worked in a bike shop, the amount of bikes that we got with loose cranks was ridiculous. And with a loose crank, you go out biking, the crank arm works loose, and then it rounds itself off, and it's a new chain set time. So not good. Needs properly checking. But other than that, the bike's done. Can adjust the height of the saddle, get that to my preference, and yeah, the bars, I need to straighten those out as I've just done them in the stand quickly to put the new forks on. And yeah, everything else though, done. Brakes are working good, tyres pumped up, gears all set, so it's good to ride now. Oh, and the important bit done as well, took all the crappy reflectors off and the bell, as we do not need those, do we? So really hope you've all enjoyed this video, something a bit different for my channel. Do a few bike videos before. I'm at the moment, to be honest, kind of experimenting with my channel. I used to do loads of drone and photography videos, but I've realised on YouTube there's hundreds and hundreds of people trying to do that sort of niche, and I think there's people that better explain drones and photography and also can keep up to date on all the technology much better than I can, because kind of bankrupts you trying to get all the latest drones and cameras every time they come out. So yeah, talking about things that interest me and hopefully putting some entertaining content out there. So please like, subscribe, join me again for more videos soon. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your mountain biking. If you buy one of these bikes, hope you have a great time with it. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of the upgrades that I've done to this bike, and hope to see you all again soon. Bye for now.